Hello and welcome to the Successful Mentalist podcast. My name is Ashley Green and as always I'm joined with my good friend and co-host Aidan O'Sullivan. Hello.
Hello. I love that you're also saying my name slightly differently now. You're just changing it up a bit. I love that.
See what works best. I don't know. You guys let
wing
me
it.
know on social media which intro do you prefer, or do you just prefer me to be full-on cringy like in the Colin Cloud episode? Who knows? But anyway, today we are talking about how to get a residency. It's something which both myself, Aidan do, and pretty much the rest of the magicians out there, because a residency, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, it's the best place to interact with the public to get you the well-paid gigs that you need. So, how to get a residency, the things that you need to do. What are your thoughts, Aidan?
So this is a great topic. I think we should probably just preface it by saying that in this episode, we're going to talk about the process of getting a residency. Like, what are the steps to get to that point? In a later episode, what we should probably do is maybe an episode or a couple of episodes on how to use a residency. So actually how to get stuff out of that residency, as well as just being there. So this episode will teach you how to be there. I mean, again, at the time of recording this, we are still in a sort of lockdown in the UK at the minute. So depending on when this goes live, who knows what the situation will be. But hopefully you'll be able to make your notes and get some insight out of this episode to then apply it to actually to your own stuff, providing it's safe to do so. But in terms of getting a residency, so I think that the way I kind of got my residencies was quite interesting. I mean, I was looking around at residencies because, again, I'd seen other performers were getting residencies and they were performing at the same place routinely, and I thought, oh, that's cool. And I spoke to a couple of people about it, and again, all recommended it. It's just a solid, stable gig, if you like, and you can sort of go from there. And I really liked that idea. I thought, well, this would be cool to do. And so I actually approached a couple of venues before. This was probably about a year before I first got a residency. I approached a couple of people on like Facebook, and there was a new venue opening up in my hometown. Not my hometown, the town I'm living in. There was a new venue up, and I dropped them a Facebook message and an email, and I was like, hey, would love to come and meet you. I think this would be interesting. We could probably work together on something. I never had a response from that email, and the Facebook message was read and it wasn't replied to. So I did the obvious thing. I followed up. I sent another email and another Facebook message, and I got no response once again. And it kicked me to the curb a little bit. I thought, oh well, I'm demotivated now. Like, people don't want to work with me and all that stuff. But again, I should probably preface that this was a good few years ago now. This was probably a good 4 or 5 years ago when I first started putting the feelers out there. And the way I actually got to the residencies that I'm working with at the minute, I was at a private party. I was at a private party for people that had known me and that had known I was performing from a young age, from school. They were aware that I was a performer, and they just had contacts with venues, and the venues were actually, like the people that run the venues or organise the entertainment and things, they were actually at this big event, this private event. And I went around, I performed, and they kind of said in an off comment, like as I was performing up close for one group, they kind of said, "Oh, you'd be great in the pub. You'd be great in this venue." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that'd be great. Well, definitely. Here's my business card. Like, we can have a chat. That would be great." And I got very lucky because I know that a lot of people, and a lot of the time, when you do that approach, the whole, "Oh, here's my card, give me a ring, and we'll get something sorted," you lose a gig like that for the most part, because I didn't get their information. I knew the venues, but I didn't get their information, and I didn't have a clear plan of follow-up. So I kind of put it out there as like, right, yeah, you contact me. And thankfully, within the week they did, and I went in for a meeting, and they kind of just said, right, we would love to get you in for a couple of nights, sort of just to like come and perform and stuff. And then that was pretty much it. I mean, it was not really an incredibly interesting story. It's like I just performed at a live event, and somebody thought, oh, that would be great in my venue, and then they just brought me in. So there's a lot of lessons there, but I kind of just want to flip this around. How did you get your residency?
Well, it was interesting one. A few years ago, I think, what has it been, like 2 years, 2.5 years being at my residency now, something like that. And that's at Houdini's Magic Bar. Best place on earth. I love it. And I always looked at entertainers in general, and I was like, how have you got in with a venue? And I was very nervous, so I didn't want to go and approach, and I didn't want to message, because I didn't know the way of how to do it. I was kind of scared, and I guess it was that fear of rejection, of what would happen. So I saw that they were advertising in the paper for magicians, and there was still that little bit of fear, so I was like, no, I'm not going to get it, I'll just leave it. My auntie then messaged me, and she said, you should apply, and I was like, oh, I've kind of got to now. So I applied, sent off an email, and they said, brilliant, when can you come in for an audition? We're auditioning magicians on the next few days. And I scheduled a time in, went up, done my audition. A few things went wrong, and I left, and I was like, well, I've not got that. And the owner of the bar, Sam, phoned me up, and he said, look, I'm really sorry to make this phone call. Obviously, it might not be what you're expecting, but you're going to have to give up a lot of your days because you're working for us. And I was like, oh my gosh, wow, how to change the mood. So like, oh, and it literally just came from that. And since I got that, I've realised you don't need to be scared of the failure. And just literally before coronavirus, I was in the process of hopefully getting another residency, but it was in a restaurant, and the way I'm looking at it now, I'm like, well, who wants a guy kind of chucking their hands over their foods at the moment? So who knows how that's going to go. But that was just it for me. It just kind of came out, I guess, out of the blue. Like, do you think that's where the best residencies come from? The ones that you don't actively seek, but the ones where they just appear and happen? Is it because people want you, so it's better, rather than you want them?
It's a good thought. It's a really good thought. And I would probably say that, I mean, with that said, I mean, I've got 2 residencies at the minute, and they're both joint pubs in the same town, and the kind of management is connected, although different. They kind of work together and stuff. So once I got into one, I was basically, I got 2 for the price of 1. Is what I'm saying. I got 2 residencies for the price of 1, and because they sought me out, they kind of knew me already. We'd spoken over the years and stuff, and they were aware that I'd performed and stuff. And when they approached me, they were heart set. They weren't just mindset, oh, you'd be great in our venue. They were heart set. They knew that I was a good fit because they knew me. And I think that's an important level. Like, actually being able to have these people come to you, there's something in that, definitely. I don't know, it's hard. It's really, I've not even thought about that. I would say that, yeah, there is a value in having people approach you to be a resident performer, because they seek you out because they already know the value, and they've sold themselves already. So you don't have to worry about selling yourself or pitching yourself into their venue to do whatever it is that you do. And it kind of just comes naturally. But I would definitely wouldn't say just sit on your ass and keep performing at events and hope for the best. If you want a residency, the best thing for you to do now is to at least start approaching venues to try and work with that, because not only then are you actively seeking something out and applying for the, like I say applying, it's not an audition process like it was for you, but when you actually start approaching these venues and try and get this, when you try and get these people on board, even if you get denied or like declined or whatever, you don't end up locking in that residency and you don't end up getting there. You've still got that experience of working with a venue. So again, ask them the questions if it doesn't work. Like, oh, is there a reason why that you don't think that I'd be able to insert benefit? Like, that's it. You've got to be benefit driven, because otherwise they're going to be like, no, you're just costing us money for no reason.
Yeah. I think now is the best time to actually look in your area and start looking at the venues and start looking at their reviews, looking at the photos, see how the room looks, and start thinking, I'd like to perform there. I would like to perform there each week, each month, and start researching. It's the best thing you can do, because when you go to them, now you've got all this background knowledge. You can say, I know you do this, so I can do this. I know you do this, so I can provide this, and I can do this for your guests, because you've done your research. Take your time. And yeah, putting that together and, like you say, working out your benefits. What can you offer a restaurant? What can you offer a bar or any other place where you might want to perform? Make a list.
Yeah, just talking about benefits there, actually. Again, it is slightly different, but on the same topic. What would you say the benefits of having a residency are? Say 3 benefits from your end.
Confidence, a place to fail. So I'm going to say that's immediately one. Number 1 for me. Number 2, literally getting more gigs. Constantly getting prospects. And number 3, a place to test out new material. So I've got a place to obviously fail, a place to get more business, and a place to try new things, because there's nothing worse than getting paid £1,000 for someone's big extravagant event and thinking, yeah, today's a try. I try that reverse diagonal palm shift for my billet routine. Oh God, no. Oh, what happens if that goes wrong? Try it at a place you're more comfortable with, where I guess it does. I mean, obviously it matters if you're wrong, but it matters less, because in that sort of environment, in a residency, it's all about having fun, having a laugh, make sure they're okay. And for me, I feel it's more important that the things go right in an event where people are expecting the tricks to work. In a residency, they're expecting you just to entertain the guests. So in that aspect, it doesn't really matter whether it goes wrong. And the fascinating point I want to bring up, I remember when I was younger, about 18 years old, I remember sitting round with some very well-known magicians in the magic circle, and they said to me, never get a residency in a bar or a pub. You'll get no work out of it. It's a waste of time. You have 2 residencies in bars, and I have a residency in a bar. And I'm pretty adamant I get a hell of a lot more work from that than a lot of people that work in restaurants. And I would personally rather be stuck in a spit and sawdust, proper out and weird, grimy pub than an upmarket restaurant. Why? Because everyone there doesn't feel like they need to put on like, ooh, look who I am. They're just there, they're just chilled, they want to have a laugh, they're with their mates, and they just want to get on with it. As opposed to another venue where it's all just like posh and fancy, which is fun, but they're putting on an act some of the time.
Yeah, I get that. It's kind of a... It depends where you want to go, really. I mean, you're right. I've got two bar residencies, like pub residencies. You've got a bar residency yourself, and we both get a lot of work out of it. And what I find is actually really interesting, again, we'll talk about using residencies in a later episode, but just to throw it out there now, that not only do we get gigs from meeting people in these residencies, but I sell a lot of tickets to my shows at these events. Like, I will happily go in when you work with a venue that's so good to you and they're so supportive of you and your work and stuff, that you can go in for an extra night and just to promote your show. I mean, like, do you mind if I come in, just promote my show? I mean, my residencies, you won't get it with everywhere. It's worth throwing that out there now. You won't get it with every residency, that they're happy enough for you to go in and promote your show at another residency. So essentially driving business away from them for a night. But they're so supportive of that, and that's the most important thing to look out for a residency. Don't just aim for, look around and find the places that you want to go for, but also have a look around and meet the people that are both in there and actually there. Like, go to these places, have a meal at these places if you need to. Go and actually have a drink in these bars. Go and actually experience what it is. What's that atmosphere like? So then when you're pitching or when you're approaching that venue, you know what the atmosphere is like on a... do this on several nights as well, actually. This is probably a good thing. If you're really up for going out and really working your pitch and getting ready to actually go and book this residency, go on a couple of different nights. Go on a midweek night. Go on a weekend. Go on a Friday, Saturday, a Tuesday. Go on the weird nights as well, and just see what it's like and get a feel for that venue. Because then you're able to literally say, right, this is the atmosphere of your bar. This is how many people you usually get in, roughly. If I told you that I could double these numbers, or I could do whatever it is that you want, like benefit driven, of course, which we'll talk about countless times over the podcasts, but providing you can do that and do that research, you know who you want to work with, where you want to work, and how you want to work as well. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, a hell of a lot. And the other thing which you say in regards to benefit driven, like I said, people need to start making a list now of every single benefit you can take to a venue. And I don't think it's fair that, I mean, we could very easily share the benefits, but the TSM way is all about deeper levels of thinking. You're not me, you're not Aidan, you are you. You're going to come with your own benefits, and you're going to be able to do things better than I can or better than Aidan can. And they're the things that you need to say to that venue, because when you find that unique thing which you can do better than anyone else, then you are going to stand out for that venue. And when every other Tom, Dick and Harry comes along to apply to that place, they're going to be like, well, that's all great, but you can't do what this guy does. So that's when you're going to get booked as well. And it goes back to being unique and white mentalism, finding your little thing. But yeah, obviously, I can see you want to make a point.
Yeah, just to jump in there, it's obviously being unique and everything. That's a huge part of it. And again, providing you know your benefits, like what can you do? Again, it's the same with anything. You know what you can do to an event. You know what you can do for, not in a stage show. You know what you could do for this residency. Don't think narrow-mindedly, and don't just stick inside your own head. Don't get that ego driven. Don't inject yourself with an ego shot. Like, that's not what you want to do. You don't want to approach these venues saying that I can do this and this and this and this. This is just the starting point of what it is that you can do. Now apply it to the venue. Tell them why that's a good thing for them and what it means for them. What are they going to see on the other side of that? So don't just say like I can make people go crazy and shouting and screaming and make attention and then draw loads of people in to the thing. Like, really think about what it is that you can do. What's your edge? What's your unique element? How you can apply that to that venue. And again, it's going to change between venues. It's going to change between atmospheres at different bars or different restaurants, and all the residencies are different. So this is ever going to change. This is always going to change. Unique, how that applies, and what that means for them. That's kind of the key thing you need to get inside your own head when you're actually approaching these venues.
Yeah. And you know, the other thing that I want to add on, when you go and approach a venue, there's many different ways you can go in and say, look, these are my prices. But what I settled upon on one venue in particular, I went and done a free night for them. Like, it wasn't that far out of the way, and like I really wanted it, so I didn't mind giving my time for free. It was on a day that I didn't usually work, so we agreed just to do an hour and see how it went.
Do you think again, this is again another off the cuff thing, do you think we should try and put like literally just a few points together, like almost like an actionable step-by-step process on?
Oh yeah, I think
on getting ready? Do you think we could do that?
Yeah,
I mean,
I think everyone listening to this now will quite like a 3 PDF, which www.thesuccessfulmentalist.com/free 10 tips to improve your mentalism. Brilliant PDF you can download there. But yeah, another free PDF. I think it'll really help people because, yeah, listening to this podcast, but myself and Aidan have so much gold to give in regards to this, and it's hard to fit it all into a 20-minute episode of, obviously, like Aidan said, a great idea. As we progress a little bit more, maybe we can start talking about things of what to do once you're in the residency to get more work. But yeah, as I was saying, like, if you put something together for just a 3 hour, but then, like I done, I stayed for 2 or 3. Giving them more shows I don't care about the money. All I care about is smiles and faces. And that goes miles. Do that, and the other benefit as well, because I can probably predict that there's some people now going, oh, I'd never give my time for free. Then you're stupid. Sorry. But the reason I say that as well, go into the venue, do it for free, because if you're not in some sort of contract, you've got no fee to stay or whatever, if you don't like it, you can literally turn around to them and say, look, I don't think it's for me, but I do know this other entertainer, because not every residency is going to be for you. You might not be able to cope with the fast service of the food. You might not like the clientele. I don't know. So it needs to be right for you, and it needs to be right for the venue. And that's an important thing, and it's what I don't hear a lot of entertainers talking about whether the venue is right for them.
Yeah, it's a huge important point. I mean, whenever you look at how to get a residency, all of these videos, all of these ideas. They'll all tell you the process or the what to do's to make yourself look good and to get in there and how to sell yourself from the benefits and the transformations and all of that kind of stuff. But very little actually ask you to think about, is this right for you? I mean, a younger performer might not get the same benefits as like working in a spit and sawdust pub that an experienced like pro that's been doing it for a long time that wants to get into a residency, wants to settle down with an actual place that they can routinely go to. I mean, it's all about finding what works for you, and then the process is much easier, because if you know where you're coming from and you know what you want out of the residency, and you've done your research and you know what residencies you would like what venues and what specifically would work for you, and then you can explain to them how what you want connects with what they want, which connects with their venue. Like, if you can tie all of this stuff up, you're only gonna win. But just don't be afraid to scrap an idea. I mean, I've read in a book the other day that I've actually realised that Google, on their project, they have an actual inbuilt 40% failure rate. So that means essentially 40% of their projects. I mean, Google is always launching new projects every single day, every hour. There's new stuff coming out with Google and new ideas and everything. They're okay to kill 40% of those projects if they're not working, or they're not getting as many results, or they're not getting the same level of degree. Failure in that case is okay, and it's something that we spoke about on the episode where we spoke about failure. It's okay to fail. It's okay to sort of not think something's going to work well for you. So put it at bay. So don't be afraid to go through this process and then think, meh, I don't think that works. So just learn from that as well.
Yeah, that's it. And when you find something you like, or when you learn from your mistakes and that, then it's brilliant. I mean, I genuinely love where I perform, and there's performers out there who don't. They do it just for the money, and that's when you start to lose a passion, and then your hobby, the thing you like, becomes the job. So the other thing that I want to say as well is Houdini's is an interesting place. Like, the type of people we get in range from students to very high-end clients with a lot of money, which is obviously great for getting gigs. So it's not just a mixture of close-up I'm doing. We also do a little mini performance to people, and I don't see that at many other venues. So, you need to think outside of the box when you package a deal to people. It goes back to what I said. What can you do differently that no other performer is doing, which will make you stand out when going in and trying to get your deal tied up?
Exactly that. It's something so valuable. It's something so important that at the end of the day, you've got to take your own approach, find out where it is that you stand, and go from there. And again, we'll talk loads about how to actually use a residency in the coming months, I'm sure, how to get the most out of it. But I think that's a lot of good information there. Is there anything else that you want to add in?
No, I mean, obviously, if you guys have questions in regards to that, myself and Aidan are more than happy to help out. Literally, if you are planning to get a residency, if you have a residency, we'd love to know your thoughts. We'd love to know what you're good at, what you struggle with. Literally, just leave a comment on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube. We'd honestly love to hear your thoughts, and yeah, then we can help you out. If you've got any questions, let us know. Leave a comment on a post, and we'd be more than happy to chat and share our things which we're good at. As always, don't forget to subscribe to us on your favourite podcast provider, and we will see you next week, where it's another interesting one talking about Aidan's favourite, how to get a stage show. So until next week, stay safe and take care, guys. Goodbye.
And check the show notes. For
the free PDF. See ya.